legislation through the House right now, and it's a lot of the stuff that I ran on. And we're going to work hard to get this through the Senate and signed by the President. We're still, going through that process. I have higher hopes for some of it, and I'm happy to talk about what I think we might see get through the Senate in the near term. Recently, we've been working on health care. So we have put forth 5 bills in the House, which we passed to lower prescription drug costs. Some of those involve getting generics to market faster. Some of them involve better competition in the markets, but we're working hard to get prescription drug costs down. We also have 5 bills that include the protection of coverage for pre-existing conditions, a ban on junk health insurance. As some of you know, under the Affordable Care Act, we had the 10 essential benefits covered, so you wouldn't buy health insurance and find out, for example, if you're a woman, that it doesn't cover childbirth. And then we also have to help states launch the healthcare exchanges to continue to bring prices down. And then I worked really hard. I'm on the opioid task force. It's a bipartisan task force to work on the crisis of opioid substance abuse across the nation. It is really a problem in every single state. And so we were working hard to get grant funding. And we got over $1.5 billion for this year for substance abuse to address the opioid problem. And that already we know will go to some of the programs that we have running here. They've benefited from some of the grant money in the past, and we anticipate they will benefit from that in the future. Every single member, including Chris Smith, a Republican member, every single member of your New Jersey delegation is on a bill to get rid of the state and local tax deduction cap. We are all I am also a member of the SALT task force out of the Ways and Means Committee to work closely with the members of Ways and Means on how we might get some legislation passed. One thing that I have put forward is a bipartisan bill to end the marriage penalty so that we could double the cap for joint filers. And that would really, if we raise the SALT tax cap for individuals to $12,000, which is the individual deduction, and then we double it for married filers to $24,000, that would really help a lot of our families, because we know in Morris County, for example, the largest county, the average deduction is $23,600. So doubling the tax cap for joint filers would be helpful. I did that in partnership with Gil Cisneros, who's another Navy veteran from California, and then with Elise Stefanik from New York, and Representative King from New York as well, 2 Republicans who also are on the bill, and then we're getting bipartisan support from across the Congress for this important issue. That bill that I put forth has been endorsed by the American Federation for Teachers and by the National Realtors. I have been working on election security, so many of you have been hearing about our election security measures, and a lot of people are working on security at your polling place. So when you register to vote, making sure you're registered to vote at the correct polling place, and making sure your registration is correct and nobody's hacked into the system, making sure that when you go vote, your vote is counted, and again, nobody can change the results. I am the chairwoman of the Oversight Committee on Science, Space, and Technology, and I just held a hearing on how we best protect people at the ballot. And there's other legislation pending right now to make sure we can secure our election. But there's another piece to this, which myself and other national security members in Congress are incredibly concerned about, and that is how a foreign power hacked into our democracy. So not just the ballot box, not just registration, but specifically, how are they doing what we would call in the Navy psyops, psychological operations against us? How are they promoting their views on social media? How are they infiltrating different community protests to divide us? And that's something that I think we have seen. Many of the national security people in the caucus and in the Republican Congress have seen the Russians do in other democracies. So we have formed a task force Sentry, with members from both sides of the aisle, to get together to address that, because quite frankly, not enough has been done in that area, and we are putting forth legislation on that. We also just passed the National Defense Authorization Act. So I am a member of the House Armed Services Committee, and one of the largest pieces of legislation we do in Congress, and one of the largest piece of legislation we do in the House Armed Services Committee is the National Defense Authorization Act. And our largest employer is Picatinny Arsenal, and I'm proud to report that we probably really did better than any congressional office in the House of Representatives in the National Defense Authorization Act. And by that I mean supporting the great jobs in Picatinny Arsenal, which are going to support the future of our military. And then we also, not only did we fight hard for Picatinny Arsenal, but we really fought hard on issues that were important. I think issues like making sure that our Defense Department can pass an audit, because it's critical. Anyone who served in the military can tell you that there is waste in the system, and sometimes it's just encouraged by different inefficiencies. But it's really critical that we're good stewards of the taxpayer dollars.